What makes the world of Narnia so unique? It's not just a classic tale of good versus evil, but a rich blend of fairy tales, mythology, and deeply rooted Christian symbolism. Lewis didn't write fantasy just for adventure. His books were something more. In today's episode, we'll explore the symbolism of Narnia and see how Lewis combined spirituality with fantasy. What sets Narnia apart is its multi-layered storytelling. On the surface, we have a story full of magical creatures and heroic struggles, but underneath, there are universal questions about faith, choices, destiny, and the search for truth. This is why Narnia can be read both as a children's tale and as a profound allegory filled with Christian themes. Before becoming a famous fantasy writer, C.S. Lewis was a thinker and a Christian apologist. His novels, though full of adventure, often carry deep spiritual messages. Aslan, the mighty lion, is not just the ruler of Narnia. He is a symbol of Christ, representing sacrifice and redemption. At first, he evokes fear in the children despite his beauty. Why? Because an ideal, by its very nature, makes us aware of our own flaws. Seeing an image of infinite goodness and beauty, we recognize our own weaknesses. This is why an ideal must act as a judge, measuring us against its perfection. This symbolism ties to Jesus, who first appears as a merciful, but later returns as a judge in the Apocalypse. This is depicted in the Hans Memling The Last Judgment, when Christ raises his hands, showing the lily and the flaming sword, symbols of mercy and justice. Another example of Aslan resemblance to Jesus is his scene of death and resurrection. In The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, mirroring the Passion story. Lewis masterfully wove those themes into his narrative, giving them a fairy tale form while making them familiar to those who could see deeper meanings. Aslan offers his life for Edmund, is mocked, tortured, and killed, only to rise again at dawn. Likewise, in the Screwtape Letters, Lewis uses a narrative form that allows readers to discover spiritual truths through storytelling. This approach helped him reach a broad audience, using fantasy as a vehicle for universal values. His world building was intentional. It wasn't just about creating magical settings, but about creating a space where readers could confront fundamental questions about good and evil. In this book, the demon advises his apprentice on how to corrupt human souls. His arguments reflect the temptations we face daily. And what's terrifying is that anyone can recognize their own struggles and mistakes in them. However, Narnia isn't just a Christian allegory. It's also a rich collection of mythology and fairy tale archetypes. In its world, we meet fauns, centaurs, giants, witches, and jinns, all echoes of ancient legends and folklore. The White Witch in Narnia is a classic representation of an evil force, resembling both witches from European fairy tales and dark figures from Norse mythology. Her kingdom is trapped in an eternal winter without Christmas, and she turns her victims into stone. The giants, on the other hand, could just easily come from Scandinavian sagas or Greek myths. Fauns and satyrs clearly reference Greek mythology. How did Lewis merge spirituality with fantasy? In The Great Divorce, Lewis presents a vision of an afterlife based on a symbolism of a journey and the discovery of true reality. Hell is smaller than a grain of sand, while heaven is infinite. As Lewis wrote, if we insist on keeping hell or even earth, we shall not see heaven. If we accept heaven, we shall not be able to retain even the smallest souvenirs of hell. Likewise, in Narnia, that world is merely a reflection of greater reality, something the characters gradually realize. As the story progresses, the children learn more about themselves, and their characters mature. Take Edmund, for example. He transforms from a jealous, power-hungry child into a courageous and self-sacrificing king. Thus, Lewis' fantasy operates on two levels: as an exciting story and as a carrier of deeper truth. Reading Narnia, one can enjoy its magical atmosphere, but also reflect on human nature and spirituality. Moreover, Lewis used storytelling techniques from classical mythology and fairy tales to emphasize his message. His characters, despite living in a world of magic, must make moral choices that shape their destination. For example, Edmund, who is tempted to betray his siblings in exchange for enchanted Turkish delight, and in the end feels remorse and regrets his actions. In this way, Narnia becomes a place where fantasy merges with ethical growth. Lewis created Narnia as a space where spirituality, mythology, and fairy tales intertwine. His stories teach that good and evil are not just abstract ideas, but the real forces that shape the lives of both his characters and his readers. If you love fantasy, I invite you to explore our studio store at rpgfigures.com. We create unique, custom-designed miniatures for fantasy, D&D, and sci-fi fans. Every design is crafted with passion and made exclusively by us. And here's something special for our fellow dreamers. Use the code MAGICSTORIES for 20% off your order. In the next episode, we'll turn to Tolkien and his approach to morality in The Hobbit. Is the division between good and evil in his world truly as simple as it seems? Or is there something deeper, beneath the surface? Find out in the next episode. If you're enjoying this journey, don't forget to hit that sub button and ring the bell. It keeps us going and brings you more stories filled with wonder and imagination.